Okay, I'm back again with a Purple Heart Challenge. I'm going to try to repeat what I told you in the first one because I really believe that I left some things out and it might help somebody else to know they may have been in the same company as Dad. My name is Joyce Bird. His name was James Lawrence Bird. Our postman's name was James Bird. James Bird's a common name, but his name was James Lawrence Bird, and he was the son of James Roland Bird and Alice Sparks. I forgot grandmother's middle name. I wrote it down. Dad got on the bus at 8:30 a.m. in Tuscumbia on July the 15th, 1942, going to New York. He had on his uniform a T-patch for Texas. My brother said it was for Texas. It looked like an arrowhead. He was in the 142nd Infantry Company K. At one time or another, he was in Italy. Sicily, he gave Mother a bracelet that said Sicily on it. I haven't found it yet. I've only been here less than a year, and a lot of my stuff is packed up. I got a lot of pictures. I got pictures from the 1940s. I got pictures of him and Mother and Aunt Bee when she was 8 years old, or about 8 years old. Might have been 9. And I'm going to put those, I'm going to get an Instagram page and put them on that. In 1944, my brother told me, because he has papers, Dad was in Remiremont, France. I believe that's where he was shot. In a field where he lay, a civilian man came by taking jewelry off people, and he reached for Dad's watch. And Dad resisted and told him, he said, I'll give it to you if you give me some help. And the next thing I know is in 1945, I think Lanny, my little brother Lanny Bird, I think he has some more papers that said that Dad was in New York for 3 months. Well, somewhere between 44 and 45, he had to recuperate. I mean, in those days, they didn't have a lot of good medicine, and everybody's country was tore to pieces from bombs. So I'm sure it took a while to get to New York, and I'm sure he had to heal some before he was shipped off to New York. So I tend to think the reason I got my name is because he might have been in a hospital in England, and Mother said there was a nurse that took care of him named Joyce, and that was why he named me Joyce. And she named me Vera, and he named me Joyce. And my maiden name, of course, is Bird. Aunt Bee said that they all thought him to be dead. She was 8 years old at the time, and at this point, the family, that would be grandmother, grandpa, Aunt Bee, possibly Aunt Lucille, Aunt Desi. And of course, Uncle Demmer was in the Navy, so I don't guess he would have been there. They had all their bags packed, and they was fixing to go out the door, and Daddy walked through the door. What a wonderful thing to happen. They were gonna catch a bus to New York to see Dad, because apparently they got information that was where he was. He belonged to 142nd Infantry Company K. He also wore a T-patch. I think I've already told you that. And on May the 18th, in 1945, he got an honorable discharge. And I want to remind you that I hadn't looked them all up. There's so many. There's a lot of Veteran Days. We just had one. And we're going to have Memorial Day soon. Purple Heart Day is August the 7th. And VFW Day is September 29th. I hope I got that right. You can double check. Dad was a Mason, 32nd degree Mason, and he belonged to the Shriners. And I'm sure there's a lot more about him I could tell you, but well, he was a member of the Bear Creek Baptist Church. And he was hit by a pickup truck and died from his injuries when he was 2 months away from being 65. Now, the Purple Heart, I'm going to show you one more time. I'm so glad the government recognizes our boys and gives them something. And I think they even receive a small check from the government for the rest of their life to supplement their income from the wounds and any job they might have problems getting. But here it is. I hope that's focused. I guess you know by now I love my dad. We were good friends, and he was very wise, and so was his mother. Often I'd go to him and ask him for advice. And they did the best they could. And I guess that's about all I can tell you there, because that's about all I know right now. But it's so hard and difficult to transfer this over. Sometimes it just don't want to go. Uncle Bud lost a leg. He was Aunt Desi's husband. My brother, Gene Autry, went to Korea. That's another story. Gene Autry was adopted by Mom and Dad when he was 3 years old. And then there was Larry. He didn't go in the military because he was the firstborn. He was born higher lip and cleft palate. And then there was me, and of course I didn't go in the Army. Daddy didn't, he just couldn't have me going in the Army. And then there was Lanny, but Lanny wasn't born in any time when there was anything military going on. Uncle Delmer and Aunt Lolly went to Detroit to live, and they took their 2 kids, Helen and Claudie, with them. But after a while, Helen and Claudie wanted to come back to Alabama, so they come down and live with us. And Claudy went in Vietnam, and then Helen's husband, William Johnson, went into Vietnam, and that's how I met my first husband, Woodrow Wilson Dismukes Jr. And I had my 2 children by him, Joseph and Amanda. And it's such a long story, keep telling. Jean had 4 brothers. So they was part of our family too. They didn't live with us, but there was Raymond and Ralph and Bobby and Kenneth. And we treated them just like family. We felt like they was just as much our family as everybody. Raymond, Jean's oldest brother, well, no, Kenneth was the oldest, but Raymond went in for life. And I don't know about the other 3. I think Kenneth might have had polio. He lives in Haleville, I believe. Then there was the rest of the family. My son was in the military. Joseph Woody Dismukes. I didn't want him to be 3rd. And I've got to stop it because it's so hard to transfer it. But I'll try to come back again as soon as I can find that bracelet and tell you a little more. And I like planting flowers, and I've been messing with them. And for Mother's Day, me and my daughter, well, they went out. I'm not getting out during this virus thing. Her and her husband, Chris, went out and bought the awfulest lot of flowers you ever seen. We've been working in flowers and flower pots, and oh Lord, the trees have just put out just leaves so fast. I mean, it's rained a lot here, and today it's overcast. But maybe we'll talk about the little pets. We got a poodle and I think it's a Pomeranian. And we've got flowers everywhere. And just all kind of stuff going on. We've enclosed. They put a roof over the deck. Now we've got a back porch. I mean, just things have been popping like popcorn. So, just remember, I'm still challenging anyone and everyone for their story. I wish they'd come on like me on YouTube and tell their story. I don't care if it's 2 minutes. It's better than no minutes at all. And like I said, if you don't tell that story, it'll never, never get told. And you really need to tell the story of the Purple Heart in your family. Even if it's just the name, the rank, the year of the war, whatever. Or just say, my father's name was so-and-so, and he was in the war, and he got a Purple Heart, and please, please, so many stories, so many veterans, so many disabled American veterans. We all need to hear their story. We really need to hear their story. They need to tell it. It's just uncountable as many as there are. And Dad would have been 99 this year, so who's alive to tell their story? Please come on and tell your story about the veteran you know, neighbor, anybody. And thank you, and y'all have a good day. It's gonna be a pretty day here, even if it is overcast. And I'm gonna go out and fool with some flowers.